I can't give you my name just to protect where I work and who I am. But my credentials are I went to college for 3 years. I have a fire protection engineering technology diploma from Seneca College, and I've also worked on a bunch of municipal buildings and permits for certain cities. I also have my BCIN for general legal and for fire protection. I also have a bunch of other fire protection licenses for fire alarm systems, and I've been in the industry for over 10 years. So I'm here to conduct a little inspection on the tiny little shelters. Yeah, we're going to see what kind of fire protection equipment and ratings they have within the shelter. I'm going to be going over all the code through the Ontario Building Code, even though it's not required. Yeah, we're going to take it from there, and we'll see kind of what we find when we inspect the shelter. So the first thing we got to determine when we're inspecting the shelter is, does this building or structure, is it considered a building? So in order to determine that, the first thing we got to do is we got to look into the Ontario Building Code. So as I can tell already, the tiny shelter is not considered a building because it is not greater than 10 meters square, and there is also no plumbing attached to it. So therefore, you do not need a permit for the structure, and you do not need to follow any type of standard in the Ontario Building Code right now. So in order to determine a rating of any type of material used in the structure, we have to turn to 3.1.12.1 determination of ratings. So any material inside a building, in order to have a fire protection rating, it has to be tested as per 3.1.12.1. CAN ULC S102. Test for surface burning characteristics of burning materials and assemblies. This will determine basically your rating for your wall or your fire compartment. So this is where I'm getting my rating from. So we have Gypsum Board X was giving us 40 minutes. We have 406 millimeter wooden studs. That's going to give us another 20 minutes. On our ceiling, we have wood floor and wood roof joists of 406 millimeters, which is going to give us 10 minutes on the roof. So already we have a rating of 40 plus 20. So that's 60 minutes we have on the fire exposed side, so the interior of the structure going outside. And then we also have on the roof 10 minutes, so 40 plus 10, so we have 50 minutes going from the underside of the roof up inside the shelter going outwards. So we can add another anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes depending on the type of insulation. So I believe we're using that rock sole insulation, which will add us anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes on top of the time we already have. So we're almost hitting the 60-minute mark for a fire resistance rating inside the structure without even looking at it. All right, so first thing I noticed is that they have a smoke alarm and a carbon monoxide alarm. So this is required OBC and in the Ontario Fire Code that any new dwelling unit or any new areas of sleep requires to have a smoke alarm and CO alarm installed inside the room or unit. So this is already a good thing that I see. There's all 5/8 drywall on the walls, ceiling, and also on the door. So 3M Barrier, that is a well-known company. It's also UL rated. It's also recognized in the Ontario Building Code. So this is all their seams and all their are covered with this, which would give it almost a full rating on the wall itself. The only thing that wouldn't have a rating on that would be the window. So I would say the inside of this structure here is 90% rated, judging just by the look of it, because they have 5/8 drywall, like I said, on the ceilings, on all the walls, and actually on the doorway. And all the seals are with this 3M barrier, which is recognized by the OBC. Underneath the floor, from judging by looking at the plans, There is a piece of 5/8 drywall underneath it, so in case someone were tried to light the shelter on fire from underneath it, the fire wouldn't penetrate the floor and come through the floor and then also spread from the interior. So judging by the inspection of the shelter here and upon reviewing the designs and the paperwork associated with it, I do believe there's at least a minimum of a 30-minute rating, if not more, for the shelter for the interior. So by the looks of this structure, if a fire were to occur inside this building, I believe it will withstand, in my professional opinion, at least 30 minutes based on the type of material used, which is the 5/8 drywall X gypsum board, and also with the application of the 3M barrier caulking, the sealant. As well, they have early warning detection for any smoke and of course carbon monoxide. And yes, I don't think you'd have at least 30 minutes for any fire within the structure to spread to any adjacent structures and or tents, which is plenty of time for any first responder to be on scene. Because I think the average time here in Toronto for a fire suppression crew to get on scene is within 5 minutes. So this is more than enough time needed. Those are kind of my final points on this inspection of the structure. So, oh yeah, one more point. They've also added, in case someone want to do anything, what's the word I'm looking for? Bad. They've added a 5/8 layer drywall underneath. So if anyone were to try to start a fire underneath the shelter, it wouldn't spread from underneath inside the structure. So yes, I believe this is actually it's fairly well made for what it is. And at the end of the day, they don't even need to do any of this. This is all extra. But yeah, that's kind of like my summary of this shelter here. So.